Hi, I'm Baudier, and this is my video for Module 7. For my project, I'll be producing a multimedia presentation on the history of Catholicism in New Orleans. Few cities in the United States are so closely related to the Catholic Church as New Orleans. For much of the history of Louisiana, the history of the church in New Orleans went hand in hand. With the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, for the first time the United States acquired a large area of land with a population who was not principally Protestant and was largely non-English speaking. Of course, New Orleans was the largest and most important city in this new area. Louisiana was a former French colony with French citizens. It had been a Spanish colony before once began becoming a colony of France. New Orleans depended on the Catholic Church for its Christian leaders, many of its educators and healthcare providers, and all of the leaders of the city prior to the Louisiana Purchase were lay members of the church. Some of its most impressive and important architecture in the city were its churches, convents, and schools. New Orleans was certainly the most European city in North America at the time, and perhaps so is still today. My focus in the Liberty University history program is Louisiana history, and one of the great things about that is the many resources available to me on the history of the state. I'm able to utilize the Louisiana State Library and its Louisiana collection, the East Baton Rouge Parish Library and its Louisiana collection as well. The State Museum is here in my hometown, along with the State Archives. Louisiana State University and Tulane University both have archives and special collections dealing with state history, and I've used these in my projects while studying at Liberty University. And of course, there's a great deal of material online from these organizations as well as the Liberty University Library. And another plus is I live only about an hour from New Orleans, so going down there is not difficult at all. Three of the principal texts that I'm using for my project I was able to check out through one of these sources, and these include Roger Baudier's The Catholic Church in Louisiana from 1939. It's Baudier's historical text on the Catholic Church in Louisiana is comprehensive, covering nearly every person and event concerning the church in the state. Also, I used Emily Clark's Masterless Mistresses, the New Orleans Ursulines, and the Development of a New World Society, 1727, from 2007. Perhaps no religious group is more important to the lore of the Catholic Church in Louisiana than the Ursuline nuns. When New Orleans was about 10 years old in 1727, the Ursuline nuns from Rouen, France, arrived in New Orleans, being able to trace one's family lineage back to a casket girl. The young women brought to the colony as wives and watched over by the Ursuline nuns in Louisiana is akin to tracing one's lineage back to the Mayflower in New England society. The casket refers to the small wooden boxes the girls were given for their possessions. A third text I used was Charles Nolan's A History of the Archdiocese of New Orleans from 2000. With access to the archives of the Archdiocese and private collections of members of the church and organizations in the community, Nolan gives a chronological account of the major events of the church in New Orleans, starting with the discovery in the area by French explorers and continuing on through the year 2000, which was the date of the publication of the book. It's one of the few books devoted wholly to the history of the Catholic Church within the Archdiocese of New Orleans, and it's a great foundational book that gives a lot of good information. If you're interested in New Orleans history, Louisiana history, or the history of the Catholic Church, please look for my presentation on my YouTube channel, Pelican History. I'll be posting there soon. Thank you for watching my video. I look forward to your comments.